Good morning, everyone. Today has just been a really rough morning for me. Do you ever have mornings like that? First off, I woke up and I was just so tired. And that's not like me. I am a morning person. So when I struggled to just feel awake, yeah, I'm still struggling. What can I say? I just feel like I could sleep for another 5 hours. But no, the day is going to continue going forward and I need to be a part of this day. So today what I want to do is I want to can some chicken. I got a pretty good buy on some chicken when I went to the store the other day. And so, yeah, I thought that I would raw pack some chicken and thought maybe you would want to join me for a little bit of that. Anyways, I'm going to get myself and my stuff together, and I will talk to you in just a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be cutting up my chicken. Yeah, actually this is the second thing that I did because I put water in my canner, three quarts of water, and I put a pan of water on to start to bring to a boil, because we're going to add the boiling water to the chicken in the mason jars when that's all done. But I got to cut all this up first. So let's get that done. And all I'm doing here is cutting the chicken up into cubes in order to fit it into the jars easier. Is I've just taken my jars out of the oven and I'm going to put a teaspoon of salt. It's a teaspoon for a quart. That's what I'm using, quart size. It would be a half a teaspoon for your pint. And I'm just going to put the chicken into my jar. I'm going to pack it down a little bit. And then I'm going to add some water here. This is hot water that's been brought to a boil. And just kind of swish that, get that down. Pack that water all the way down. Make sure there's no air bubbles. And then just wipe the rim. And of course I'm going to get 2 of them on here. Here we go. Put on my rim. And that's that. Start the next jar. Well, as you can see, the 10 pounds of chicken made about 5 quarts. So you might be wondering, well, that's what are you doing this for? Well, you know, a couple years ago, I started to prepare for food storage, is I guess what I wanted to say. And I did. I started out strong. I started out doing good, and it just it went by the wayside. And so I just had a sense that it was time to finish up and get that food storage done. And so that I wasn't overwhelmed, I decided that I was going to do enough food storage for at least 4 months. So I have been ordering things, I've been picking things up, but one of the things that I realized I would be able to do quite easily, can you hear my dog in the background drinking water? She's so funny, is as I see sales, like I did with this chicken, that I could buy it and I could can it, because this has a longer shelf life than anything I'm going to stick in my freezer. And if anything happens to my freezer, well, that's a total loss then, isn't it? So all of my investment could have a possibility of just being thrown away. So that's why I am starting to do just more canning of meats and doing my own jellies and things like that, because I want to be able to, get my food storage up to 4 months. Anyways, I'll talk about that in a future video, and the site that I went to help you coordinate just how much of everything you're going to need and for how long. I mean, you're going to store for 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, a year. And so it helps you to break that down so that you can have a realistic goal for yourself. So anyways, that'll be coming up here in the next few videos, and I'm going to get this into my canner and get this chicken processed, and I'll talk to all of you in just a little while. Well, I'm just waiting for it to come up to pressure, and then we're going to time it for 1 hour and 15 minutes. And at least I'll have some canned chicken for my food storage, right? Anyways, that's kind of what I've been doing, and I've been kind of cleaning up as I've been going, because I just got a message from Rick that he is on his way home. So I am going to start getting on his dinner, which I think I timed this really good this time, because I can still make dinner as this is being processed. So anyways, I'll talk to all of you in just a little while. Today, we will be reading in Matthew chapter 13, verses 36 to 43, where Jesus explains the parable of the wheat and the tares. Starting in 36. Then he left the crowds and went into the house, and his disciples came to him and said, "Explain to us the parable of the tares of the field." And he said, "The one who sows the good seed is the Son of Man, and the field is the world. And as for the good seed, these are the sons of the kingdom, and the tares are the sons of the evil one. And the enemy who sowed them is the devil, and the harvest is the end of the age, and the reapers are the angels. So just as the tares are gathered up and burned with fire, so shall it be at the end of the age. The Son of Man will send forth his angels, and they will gather out of his kingdom all stumbling blocks and those who commit lawlessness, and will throw them into the furnace of fire. In that place where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Then the righteous will shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father, and he who has ears, let him hear." There is generally 2 ways that today's passage is taught. Some people believe that this parable teaches that unbelievers will exist alongside believers in the visible covenant community until the return of Christ, while others teach that the parable is concerned mainly with the church and the authenticity of the faith of its professing members. Now, Scripture undeniably teaches that we will often be unable to distinguish those who profess faith falsely from true believers in the organized church until Judgment Day. Yet this
point is probably not the emphasis of the parable of the wheat and the tares. Christ says in verse 38, the field represents the world, not the kingdom or the church. Most likely, Jesus is focusing on the work of the Son of Man and Satan within the world in general, not the church particularly. So that leaves us with the question, what then is the parable's purpose? Since today's passage follows the parables of the mustard seed and the leaven, Jesus seems to be dealing with the apparent delay of the kingdom's consummation. Let's try to look at things from the disciples' point of view. This Nazarene is doing messianic miracles and is claiming absolute authority, yet the kingdom he inaugurates is not crushing its human opposition. As I previously said, the disciples want to know how the kingdom could allow its enemies to go unchecked. Even though Jesus does not give a full answer in our scripture passage today, he does say the apparent delay of final judgment does not mean that it has been canceled. As Christ plants the gospel in the hearts of his people, the devil works against him. Satan is ever present, striving to put out the light of Jesus from shining in the world. The adversary craftfully disguises his plans as good things. Much like the tare, the weed, looks like wheat in the early stages of growth. Pulling up the tares cannot be done without pulling up the wheat, and the wheat cannot be harvested until it is all matured. Until then, the Son of Man allows wheat and tares to grow together, lest the kingdom's harvest comes before all the grain is ready. But now we come to where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. If you, like myself, are the wheat, then we need to heed what I am about to say. We are to coexist in this world, and we're to influence the world for good, not to be influenced by it. You and I are to be used by God to reach that terror near us. So look for opportunities. Like Jesus, we are not to condemn the world. We're not to blast the world or judge the world. That's God's business. But we are to love them while standing up for truth. We don't condemn the person, we condemn the sin. So remember, life happens. And I want to leave you with a couple of questions. If you are wheat, are you influencing the world for good and for God? Is your attitude one of love rather than one of condemnation? It's so easy to sit back and condemn sinners and speak evil of them due to their sin. But sometimes in the process, we begin to call down damnation on them. Maybe we need to ask God to give us greater grace towards them. After all, He extended His grace to us. God bless. I hope this has left you with something to think about and to ponder, especially as we witness so much destruction around us in our country today. So many people that believe that they are doing the right thing, but they have been deceived by the evil one. And it has entered some of our churches. The social gospel has entered into many churches that I would have thought were evangelical in any other time or at any other time. We're facing unprecedented times, But we do need to remember to extend grace towards the sinner, just like God extended grace towards us, a sinner. God bless. And I will talk to you on Friday.